Hi, and welcome to Two Tired Teachers.
Coming at you from Custer State Park in South Dakota. And there's several things we want to mention to you about this park. One is,
It's massive.
it is very massive.
It is 71,000 acres.
And it is very different than any park we are familiar with. We're from Texas. We have 90 state parks, and a few of those have like 2 branches.
Or units.
Or camp, yeah. But this particular park actually has 9 different campgrounds as well as lodges. And other things that are actually located within this campground, because the campground is a huge chunk of that southwest corner of South Dakota.
You've got some cabins, of course.
Well, yes, they have cabins, they have lodges.
They have tent camping. They have RV camping.
But
they have stores.
General stores, laundromats, those lodges will have restaurants, etc. And so,
Yeah, and there's fuel at some of them. The little gas station, we did not price it. I do not think it will be the cheapest gas in South Dakota, but it's there if you need it.
but this park is so massive and it's different than any park we've been to before. So we just want to point out a few things to you. First of all, there are multiple entrances, and at each of those entrances, they tell you there's a $20 fee to come into the park. That $20 is good for 7 days, 6 nights, 7 days. Or you can buy a year-long pass that is $36,
$36, I think.
and it's good from May to May. But that fee is applied if you are staying here, or that fee is applied if you're just driving through or using one of the scenic loops.
Yes.
That there's here. But this is an amazing park. The Visitor Center. Want to mention that.
The Visitor Center is huge and wonderful.
It's on par with a national park visitor center. It really has that feel. They have a theater where they have a program about the area. They have tons of information. They have a topographical map of the state park. The rangers were extremely helpful. And then things that there are to do in this area. And I want to apologize on camera for you because of the wind noise. It just started, but we don't have a separate microphone, so please bear with us.
There is fishing and swimming in the park, and believe it or not, I don't think it's been in the 80s any day we've been here, and we've been here for 6.
And it's in September, mid-September.
And there have been people swimming every day, practically.
But there 3 of these campgrounds and some with lodges are located on lakes. And
Yes.
so we've seen people with watercrafts and fishing, etc. And then within the park, there are 3 scenic loops.
Yes.
There is the
Iron Mountain Road
Needles Highway
and the Wildlife Loop.
And so if you're going to be driving on any or part or all of those, you'll be in Custer State Park
And
for
you'll
part of
need
that.
to pay your $20 fee.
From our campground, I believe we are 16 miles from Mount Rushmore.
Yes.
And so this is highly convenient for that. Other
I think
things,
we're even closer than that to Wind Cave, possibly.
but with Mount Rushmore, there's also Keystone as a
Yes.
tourist destination. And then, like you mentioned, Wind Cave,
Jewel Cave.
Crazy Horse, and not too terribly far from Mammoth Dig at
Yes.
Hot Springs,
Yes.
South Dakota. And then you can use this for a day trip up toward Deadwood, Spearfish,
Yes.
Sturgis, those kinds of locations. So this is there's just so much to see and do
Right here in South Dakota, in this general area.
And like we said, the lodging is so different. All of the campgrounds require reservations. The campground we are in, which is Center Lake Campground, requires same-day reservation. So if you're not sure when you're going to be here, this would be your chance to get in, which is obviously what we did. But the others also, and if you know when you're going to be here and it's going to be in peak
Yes.
season, you definitely may want to take one of those where you reserve a specific site
And
at a
reserve
specific time.
early.
Yes, that is the general consensus for that.
This one is phenomenal.
But another thing we want to mention is not only on the wildlife loop, not all of the wildlife knows they're supposed to stay down there. And so it's just amazing as you're driving through here near some of the lodges, or, when we were doing laundry yesterday, we're sitting at a picnic area and it's very obvious that a bison has recently been through there.
Custer State Park also has a bison herd. Every year they do an annual, they call it Buffalo Roundup. And the reason they do that, they want to vaccinate the young, and they want to keep the herd at about 1,400 because they don't supplement the food for the bison at all. The land sustains them. And so if they let the herd get much larger, the land won't be able to feed all of them. And so they do a buffalo roundup. It's one of the unique things about this park.
But we've seen bison.
Yes.
Just at the side of the road or near other
We
areas.
see deer at home, but there were some big bucks out last night.
And so there's wildlife throughout the park, not just at the wildlife loop. But anyway, this is just, it's like we said, it's something whenever I was trying to find out more, Custer State Park has a website. But the fact that there is an annual pass just for this park, whereas Texas has one that's good for all 90 parks,
Yes.
they have one just for this park. This is the main
Yes, I would think
park
so.
in South Dakota because of its location, etc. But I was having a little trouble trying to put all this together whenever I was looking into information. I'm going to go on and give you a screenshot of this map that will show you where all those campgrounds are located, and I will also put up a shot of the various campgrounds and how many sites are at each one and the amenities that are available there, because that's very helpful information, and for me that's kind of the snapshot I need to see to get started.
If you're not going to be boondocking, you don't want to, or dry camping, you don't want to stay at the campground, Center Lake Campground.
And that's something we want to point out. This campground is more what we think of as a campground. It's we've got a
tree covered,
a picnic table, a fire ring. We've got a campsite.
Yes.
We've got wilderness behind us, that kind of a thing. Not all of the campsites here in Center Lake Campground have that. We have a whole video about that. But many of those other campgrounds, we'll show you some video we've taken as we've driven by those. In my opinion, they look a little bit more like the RV resort kind
Yes.
of a setup. We'll tell you that as we drove past, and we actually drove through one of those, we noticed they do have, the one we drove through, and I don't even remember which one it was, had electric hookups, but they did not have water hookups, and they did not have sewer hookups. One other thing I want to mention, I do not know for certain that there are no sewer hookups anywhere else, but I do know that for all 9 campgrounds, there is one dump station, and it will accommodate 2 RVs at one time.
Yes. And it has potable water.
So you can actually pull up and fill up your fresh water tank there. But that, to me, is kind of a shocking thing to see,
Yes.
that for a campground this size. We were in Texas, we were at
Somerville, wasn't it?
yeah, I think they had 5 dump stations for that one campground. The campground had different loops, but so does this one. We're at Center Lake Campground. We're in the upper loop. They have a lower
Yes.
loop. But anyway, it's just different than something that we have seen before. And so we wanted to
let you know.
let you know and do kind of an overview of the entire Custer State Park. And something about those campgrounds is those that are in the northern part, between Iron Mountain Road and Needles Highway, there are a number of very low, narrow, either tunnels or underpasses.
Yes.
And so we're going to show you just kind of a snapshot of where those are and what the measurements, current measurements are of those. And just tell you, you may need to be creative in how you get to those, because you cannot take Iron Mountain Road or Needles Highway if you're towing an RV. We saw one person in a very old, very small, perhaps a casita, would make it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I wouldn't try it with a casita. They're not designed
No.
for any. We had to fold the mirrors in on just the van to get through. So just want to make sure that you're aware of that. And matter of fact, on the Center Lake Campground, we even showed you exactly how we got here to avoid those. But do want to mention that, because if you're coming here with an RV, that is something you need
Yes.
to know. And then, like we said, we're doing a video about
The
Center Lake
Scenic loops.
the Scenic Loops, Center Lake Campground, and Mount Rushmore, just
Yes.
because it is right here. And lots of folks stay here. And the advantage of that is we got to go see Mount Rushmore in the morning, and it looks entirely different than it. Well, yes, it's still the Four Faces Park coming out, but the lighting was very
Yes.
different than it is in the
Yes.
evening. So that was a huge advantage. And got to tell you, this is an awesome place to come and stay.
Yes.
You're in the Black Hills.
National Forest, in and out of it.
I know in Texas we have, like, Mission Tejas is in Davy Crockett National Forest.
Yes.
Here, I'm not sure if the National Forest and the State Park swap boundaries, but I know we've seen a lot of signs where we're entering and leaving.
Yes.
But anyway, it's right here at Black Hills, and it is gorgeous, and it is a wonderful place to come. And man, we've spent this is our 6th night here, and
We
it's
could
gorgeous.
easily do more, but we need to move on.
Need to hit the road in the morning. So we hope that you have enjoyed our overview of Custer State Park, and we'll look forward to our videos about the other things there are to do. Thanks for watching Two Tired Teachers.